Hey there friends, it's Liz from the Peacock Homestead, and in this week's video we'll be headed in the kitchen. I'm going to be making a few things from scratch and incorporating things out of my garden that are coming in slowly. I'll also be making a wild black cap sourdough cake, as well as harvesting some garlic and showing you a few things that are happening in my garden. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, let's get into the video. Jackie! We finally got our fence up. So it was a 345-foot fence for livestock, and right there we just have to get a gate built and it will be all set. And the deer have not been coming in here. It was amazing. So on this day I decided and made the executive decision that I was going to harvest my garlic. I had walked by and seen that the three bottom leaves were really wilted and the top was getting very wilted and brown, so I decided I am going to harvest this. And I actually plucked a couple as well, and they seemed to be splitting, so I wasn't going to have that. I'm just going to harvest it. I think last year was a little bit later, but that's fine. Sometimes things go quicker. So I want to get these curing. I decided that I was going to cure outside on the front porch. I think I'm just going to use a baby gate and lean it up against my old wood stove with a chair, and that'll work. Once I get all of this harvested, I decided that I was going to plant some zinnias here and maybe try to grow some cabbage and a little bit of Swiss chard. So after this is all pulled out, I'm going to have Tom kind of till it up and then we'll plant some seeds. But this is my garlic harvest. I felt like I just got a dozen roses there. Tom's just tilling up my garden bed, and then we're going to plant some more things in there. And then this is how I have my garlic curing, just on an old baby gate, leaning up against my wood stove and a chair. Simple and easy. And then I'll just give it a turn here and there so it dries nice and even. I also harvested some German chamomile. This smells so amazing. It's something that you'll definitely never forget. So I'm just making sure they have a little button on the end so I know it's fully mature. We've also been getting so many bush beans. We've been eating them and trying to store them in the fridge. And once I get a whole bunch, I think I'm gonna pickle these up. I'm thinking about doing a ferment with those, or maybe even a brine and making some dilly beans. I'm also checking on my cheeses. This is my Gruyere as well as my raclette. So I'm just washing them with my brine, and then I'm making sure my labels are good, which I didn't put a label on before. I'm putting them on today, and then making sure those are all correct. And I'm gonna pop them back in my cheesecake to age some more. These are the black raspberries that have been coming out of the yard. There's about 3 or 4 little bushes that are in the backyard, but we've been getting a bunch this year. They're really prolific, and I decided to make a few fun things with them, including this black cap sourdough cake. I also have a little garlic here, a little baby garlic. I think I'm going to do something with this, and I also harvested 1 single onion out of my garden to see what that looks like. It's super small, but these are a smaller variety of onions. And then I think I'm going to make some baked chicken and then put that all on top. It's going to be delicious. So we're going to pop these in the oven at 350 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. Then we're going to make sure a toothpick comes out clean, and they look really good. So they look like big muffins. While these are cooling off, I'm going to get dinner going. So I'm going to pop the chicken in the oven and then the potatoes in the oven and get dinner on its way. We'll eat dinner and then come back and decorate the cake. I have a ton of green onions, so I decided to put that on the baked potato, and I also added a dash of the chicken bouillon spice on this, and makes the potato super yummy. I added some fresh green onions on top of the baked chicken, and of course I got my helpers here. I got Jack, Blessed, and Tigger today. And we are gonna eat dinner, but I wanted to show you what it looked like on the plate really quick, and then we'll get to the cake. So I was so excited to show you how I decorated this cake. I made a really nice buttercream frosting. This is nice and cool, so I'll just take the parchment paper off. And then I have some beautiful flowers from my garden and some mint. I have some barrage flowers, plus a few of my chamomile flowers. Then I have a handful of the wild black raspberries, which grow in the backyard. And they've been doing so good this summer. They're like little jewels that just keep appearing every day in the backyard. So we've been just collecting them little by little. I put some in the freezer. I've actually flavored kombucha with it. I made a cheesecake and I put some black cap raspberry sauce on top. Made it kind of like a jello cheesecake. It was so amazing. And we've been doing so many things with it. We've just been snacking on them on the go. My hubs has been telling me when he shares with the chickens, the rooster will tell all the girls, he'll give a little alert. He makes a cute little sound and they all come running. And then sometimes he's just rather share and not even have any. I'm like, come on, little brother, you gotta have a little snack too. He's just such a gentleman. I'm not going to get too fancy with decorating. I'm just going to line the top part of the cake with these black caps, and then I'm going to put my beautiful flowers on the top. And then for a little greenery, I was going to add a little bit of spearmint. Has anyone noticed that the summer is flying by? It's going by way too fast. I want to keep it just for a little bit longer. My garden is a little bit slow. That's because we live up in the North Country, but that's okay. We'll be getting things late, so I'll be pickling hopefully my cucumbers soon, and I'll be getting some zucchini out of the garden and all of the things that I planted. Hopefully I want to do some pickling of beets and whatnot, so that'll be exciting to show you guys. But it's going by so fast. We have to get our wood stove in and have to do a whole bunch of things before the winter comes. I try not to worry so much about everything. I do keep it in the back of my head, but we'll just take it a day at a time. That's all we can do. But this is how the cake turned out. It turned out so pretty and it was super delicious too. So we're just gonna cut this open, and I wanted to show you what it looked like, and then we are gonna devour it. On this night, I was gonna make a pizza, but I decided that I was gonna harvest some more bush beans that day. And for the pizza, I was gonna use some fresh herbs. So I have some basil here, and I have some thyme. And then of course, Tom got me some more berries from the back. So I'm gonna probably freeze those and collect some more and do something with those. Then I have some sausage and olives here for the pizza. And then here is my pizza dough. So I have this recipe on my blog. It's a universal dough recipe. It's a really good recipe. It's a quick one. It has yeast in it. so it makes it super fast. So I got all my toppings here, and you see those pickles, they were delicious on this. Those sweet heat pickles. Tom does not know what he's missing because he said don't put them on my side, but it was really worth it. I have some cheese here. It's just store cheddar cheese, and I'm gonna put that right on top. So I'm just gonna decorate this pizza and pop it in the oven. This is what the pizza looked like. It came out super fluffy and delicious, and the sweet heat pickles were absolutely amazing on this. So I do recommend trying those if you're a pickle person, that is. And then we are gonna get this in our bellies. This is just the rest of the bread dough. I'm gonna pop those in the freezer for future pizzas. And then I'm gonna take these bush beans and we are gonna eat off these all week. It'll be a healthier version of a French fry. I had started some kombucha last week, so it's ready to be flavored now. Right here I have some black catberry juice, which is just berries, water, and sugar. And then this is my SCOBY Hotel I keep in a quart jar. And then I just use this plastic canning lid to kind of loosely put on top because sometimes it gets a little carbonated and you have to let the air loose. These are my reused kombucha bottles, and I'm just going to add the flavor to it and then brew it for another 2 to 7 days, and it'll have a wonderful carbonation, and then we can enjoy our flavored probiotic drinks. They're actually only lasting a couple days because it's been so hot this summer. So 7 will last us for just a couple days because I got my hubs to really like these. I wanted to show you how big my girls are getting. My little lace Wyandottes and my buff Orpingtons are getting so big. They're outside now and they go in at night, so I'm gonna do it very slowly and then get them acclimated with the other girls. They're not big enough to defend themselves, but they're having so much fun in this little retriever dog play area, which is way too small for a dog, but it's perfect for my little baby chickens. It is the perfect size for one little puppy if you're potty training. That's what we use for Jack for potty training. And it works perfectly for our little chickens. So that's what we use. And they're having so much fun picking at the grass, perching on the carrier. They're just going crazy today. And I decided that I was gonna feed my chickens some of the lettuce in the bag, so they're really excited about that. I like to spoil them and give them a couple of treats during the day. And I did grow the lettuce for us and the chickens because we share with our baby girls. And they, in return, lay us beautiful eggs. It has been such a beautiful week and such a blessing. I'm so happy I planted some zinnias, a little bit in each garden. Here I wanted to show you that I have some zucchini coming out. They are getting bigger and bigger. Soon I will have to be plucking these, but right now I think I have 4 or 5. I spotted just a couple there. And then some of my dill is finally popping, since the deer can't get to it, is finally maturing. And then a lot of my beans and peas are popping. I have some beautiful flowers in this garden bed. My broccoli is getting pretty big. My butterfly flowers are finally blooming, and my marshmallow flowers. And I'm also finding a lot of Japanese beetles, so I'm just trying to feed those to the chickens. See, I have some damage there. They're the stinker butts. And then I have my echinacea, what is blooming, and I have a helper in the garden, of course, my little Jack. He is my little guardian of the garden. I also have some oregano going to flower here soon. I wanted to see what that looks like. I'd like to get seeds out of it. And then look how big my sage has gotten since the last time I shown you. So I'm going to harvest some of that a little later. So I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to add it to casseroles and whatnot. And over here I have a whole bunch of cucumber flowers. And I also have a couple of baby cucumbers. They will be flooding in the garden soon. I can't wait for those. The future for these are pickling and fermenting. The hubs and I had noticed the other day that there is a volunteer tomato plant on the compost pile. I'm not going to argue with that, but I can't wait to see what kind it is. Just going to pop in the front and show you guys all the interesting happenings up there. So right here I have my sumac tree, and these are sumac berries, and they'll be ready towards more the end of August, the beginning of September, and I make a wonderful sumac aid with it, and it has a ton of antioxidants. Right here we had planted an apple tree this week, so that's super exciting. We're guarding it from the deer. And then on my elderflower bush we have some elderberries. They're super tiny and green right now, but they'll get bigger and they'll turn like a burgundy color, and hopefully the birds will leave me some, because I'd love to make some elderberry juice for the winter. And over here is my potato bed. That's doing really good, and I'm hopefully going to be harvesting some of those soon. I have squash that's doing pretty good here. And then I have a stevia plant. I can't wait to show you guys what I want to do with this. So I want to make a tincture to sweeten my coffee and desserts and stuff. It's going to be really cool. I have my onion bed, which is a jungle, and so is my carrot bed. It looks really crazy. I have to get in there and weed it hopefully this week. And then I have my half bed of beets, and they're doing really well. So I'll show you what that looks like if I can get in here. It's really packed, but they're doing pretty good. It actually is a pretty good size. I saw the Amish selling some beets that were that size. That would be the perfect size for pickling. My tomatoes are starting to take off. They're getting flowers, and Tom actually told me that he did see tomatoes, which I couldn't see at that time. So I have a variety of Roma. Then we have heirloom tomatoes, which I think these flowers are. And then I have some cherry tomatoes, so that's really exciting. And then I have a squash growing right through the middle of my tomato garden. And it's hooked on pretty good, so I'm not going to mess with it. That's fine. Sometimes it gets like a jungle in there. I'm not going to argue with it. Right here I have, I believe, is a spaghetti squash. And another little baby over there. The garden has went crazy this week. It needs a little bit of taming, but that's okay. Right here, I think is a buttercup squash, so that'll be awesome. It has a nice sweet and nutty flavor. And this is a volunteer nasturtium. I was so excited to see it when it was a little baby in my garden. Now it's actually blossoming and doing very well. This is one of the trees in my front yard. Actually, one of the only trees in my front yard that is this humongous. It needs a lot of work, so this will be one of the future projects that we have to deal with. And that's it, friends. I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're all having a wonderful week. Many blessings, and I'll see you on the next one, friends.